I know every client inside out. So, and I do use the AI companion, talk about what's gone well, what hasn't gone so well, what we need to focus on.
Does
Yes,
it happen sometimes that you've been coaching two or a team, a group of someone, of colleagues, of relatives, family members?
group coaching.
Yeah,
They're all this. They're all they always ask the same thing, which is it real? Is it a real job? How do you find
it
clients?
does really
You know,
sound. Yeah,
oh no, why would you do that? Where's the security in it? Panic, panic, panic. How's your guru work coming on? I'm like,
sarcastic. Well, quite sarcastic.
yeah, very sarcastically. So how can you have an opinion? There's over 8 billion people on the planet.
That sounds really incredible. Not English speakers, like it's not their mother tongue. Have you got
Yeah.
any foreigners?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Japanese clients. I've got clients from the Middle East. It obviously they speak English with me, so their English is good enough. I wasn't very successful at it, so I felt very out of control with my finances. A proper job, but I wasn't enjoying it. But I didn't have a choice. I felt like I was, as I talk to clients now, we talk about having a lifestyle of living in an open prison.
Mission, like your life mission.
Yeah, it's
Sounds really,
great. It's really good. It's really supporting other people is the best feeling in the world.
like connecting people of
Mm,
different nationalities because
mm,
languages, linguistics, that's what I
yeah,
love. I adore doing that.
yeah. If you want to try, because sometimes you're not ready, and I get that. Well, how can I do more? It's kind of like it's exactly how I was when I started. I was like, you feel people transforming.
Do they exist the different approaches probably because quite often the Anglo-Saxon approach is quite
Mm,
different to those which I've been seeing here around France or
mm,
even Germans sometimes. Do you
mm.
know the differences? Do they exist? Quite different approaches?
Is helping someone move through a process faster and more efficiently than if they were doing it themselves. They're not they're not on the pedestal that their other person is at, the better versions of themselves. A bit of mentoring in there and a bit of counseling and some therapy perhaps as well. And from my background in my career or my health background, they'll say so when we set up we'll figure out how much of a directive approach they want versus non-directive. We'll work out what level of directness or not. Well, you know what you should do? You should definitely just become time block everything and you should, you know, and you might go, oh, great, that's fantastic for you,
Yeah, it
you
doesn't
know?
work for me, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic for you. Yeah.
Well, you own that. So it's not about me telling you, it's about you having the ownership of it. It can be quite expensive if it's going to work or not. So what I tend to do is I have a club for people who will start with me.
Does it mean that you have to get in mind, to keep in mind all those 45 life stories? And it's,
Yeah, but funnily enough, it's easier than you think. It's because everybody has a different take, and you kind of have I know every client inside out. So I use, for example, I use on the Zoom, I coach through Zoom predominantly, and I do use the AI companion, which is something which takes notes for me.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
And so before a session, I'll just check through the notes as well, just to see what we agreed they would work on. And then at the beginning of each session, if it's not a brand new client, we'll go through the list and then we'll talk about what's gone well, what hasn't gone so well, what we need to focus on, if what the blocks are.
Mhm.
And then we move through the process again.
Does
Yes.
it happen sometimes that you've been coaching two or a team, a group of someone, of colleagues, of relatives, family members?
Group coaching.
Yeah.
I haven't done a ton of it, but the thing is, I also work with the coaching academy now, which is where I trained. So I work with them across speaking to new coaches who are coming through. That's my job. So before here, I was called for 3 hours. I was on calls with people who are thinking about becoming coaches, and I have an honest conversation with them because they always ask the same thing, which is it real? Is it a real job? How do you find
It
clients?
does really
You know,
sound, yeah.
I mean, even my father at one point. said to me, he when I told him I was going to become a coach, or trained to be a coach, he immediately, oh no, why would you do that? Where's the security in it? You know, panic, panic, panic. And then he would say, when I started, how's your guru work coming on? You know, I'm like,
Sarcastic, well, quite sarcastic.
yeah, very sarcastically. But now he's like really he sees the transformation that all my clients have because I post a lot of them on social media when I get them, well, they want me to. And he's really like, now it's like, how it's going so well, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, it's going really well. I mean, my argument to people who are, you know, dismissive of coaching is, have you had it? In first, that'd be my first question. Have you ever had coaching? You know, probably not. Second question is, have you ever been a coach? Probably not. So how can you have an opinion? And third of all, you think there's no business in coaching? There's over 8 billion people on the planet.
That sounds really incredible. But are there any clients who are not English speakers, like it's not their mother tongue? Have you got
Yeah.
any foreigners?
Yeah, absolutely. I've got Japanese clients. I've got clients from the Middle East, who are all, you know, obviously they speak English with me, so their English is good enough, you know.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
You surprised me. Maybe once it'll be my next step. I
Yeah.
wasn't too much surprised. Well,
I think the key is control. It's about control, right? So for me, and I always, all through my life, I felt like I wasn't really in control of me because I went to school, wasn't in control of that. I went to university, wasn't really in control of that. You know, I then went and became a musician for a period of time. I was in control of that, but I wasn't very successful at it. So I felt very out of control with my finances, for example. And then I got a proper job. And then I really felt out of control because I then wasn't, I was bringing in a salary, but I wasn't enjoying it, but I didn't have a choice. I felt like I was, as I talk to clients now, we talk about having a lifestyle of living in an open prison because even though it looks like you're having a great life, truthfully, you're a prisoner.
you are a prisoner, and sometimes it's hard
Yeah.
to look after kids.
Yeah, and you have to ask for permission for certain things if you want to do stuff, and you know you only get a set amount of time to your family or your life, or whatever. And so for me, I never really had that control, and that was horrible. And a lot of clients now who I work with have the same issue. They feel that they just aren't in control. So what we try and do is we try and reestablish control for them, and what their version of control means. And we bring it through, as I said, in stepping stones. So it becomes less about a big, scary jump. So nobody I work with quits their job straight away unless they want to. That's their choice. But I never advocate for it unless that's their decision because they bring the content. I guide them along the process. So what we do is we work out how to move them into a period so that they feel back in control of who they are.
Yes, yeah, it sounds really like a mission, like your life mission.
Yeah, it's
Sounds
great. It's really good. It's really supporting other people is the best feeling in the world, in my opinion.
exactly right, because
Yeah.
now I see my mission in like connecting people of
Mm,
different nationalities because
mm,
languages, linguistics, that's what I
yeah.
love. I adore doing that
Yeah.
and seeing like even Eva, she was at the very beginning of, well, through the year, she got to
Yeah.
another step. She
Mm.
came here. You see that she understands more and
She's
better.
super smart, exactly, as well. Yeah, she really is. Yeah, she's a linguist like her mother. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
And I see that like a mission, but what you are describing, it sounds really unbelievable. And
It's just possible. That's the thing. It's possible for everybody if you want to try. Because sometimes you're not ready, and I get that. Because sometimes I will talk to people and they'll be too scared to try. And that's fine because the thing is that's if I push it, it won't work. So if someone says, you know, oh, not right, no, not for now, I'm like, absolutely fine. That's great because the thing is, at least you've seen what coaching is. To be fair, most people I work with end up working with me if I if they because they understand what coaching's about, really. They'll, or if they don't know, they really do by the end of it. So, and they're like, well, how can I do more? It's kind of like it's exactly how I was when I started. I was like, this is great. Why doesn't everyone know about this? And that's the best part when you feel people transforming, and then you start seeing them change. Not just physically, mentally, holistically, spiritually. In some cases, everybody's different, and they all have their own path.
And the next question is, do they exist the different approaches? Probably because quite often the Anglo-Saxon approach is quite
Mm.
different to those which I've been seeing here around France, or
Mm.
even Germans sometimes. Do you know the differences? Do they exist? Quite different approaches in
I
coaching?
I think it comes back to the definition of what coaching really is, because coaching is helping someone move through a process faster and more efficiently than if they were doing it themselves. And coaching comes from sport. That's where coaching comes from.
Mhm.
It's that some people, when I try and explain what coaching is, I'll say to them, for example, your favorite sports person on the planet, right? Or your favorite, very successful person. They work with coaches, and those coaches are not them. They're not as successful as them. They're not on the pedestal that their other person is at, but they help that person become the better versions of themselves. And as soon as I say that, people go, "Oh yeah, that's what coaching's about," because it's less. I guess, for example, it's less around the people assume it's kind of there's a kind of a inverted commas woo-woo attitude to coaching, and there is in some people have a very holistic coaching methodology, which is fine, and that's the different way of doing it. It's not so what we would call pure coaching, and then perhaps there's a bit of mentoring in there and a bit of counseling and some therapy perhaps as well. But where I work, or the space that I work in, is predominantly it's that kind of pure coaching, and in some cases a bit of mentoring, because we will, depending on the client, depending where they're at, if I've got an experiences that they've had, for example, from my background in my career or my health background, they'll say so. When we set up the coaching relationship, we'll figure out how much of a directive approach they want versus non-directive.
Mhm.
And coaching is predominantly non-directive in the purest sense. But when we work together as people, we'll work out what level of directness or not they would like.
And
Because
who
the thing
makes
is,
the decision? What's the
the client always makes the decision. And because the thing is, if I said to you, and you said to me, "Oh, Alex, I really want to become more organized. I know you have a coach on this already." And I said, "Well, you know what you should do? You should definitely just become time block everything, and you should, go and do that, and then, use the Pomodoro technique, and you should do this and you should do that." And you might go, "Oh, great, that's fantastic for you."
Yeah, it
You
doesn't
know?
work for me, but that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds fantastic for you. Yeah, I see
Yeah.
the difference.
So, but if we have a coaching conversation and you come to the conclusion that the best way for you to work is to either time block or to use the Pomodoro technique or something else altogether, then you own that. So it's not about me telling you, it's about you having the ownership of it. And then really the next bit is just the fun bit of us kind of keeping you on track.
Mhm. And how do you avoid non-paid, unpaid issues sometimes, for example, or it has to be prepaid, or
Mm.
how does it
Yeah, so I always work prepay.
prepay?
Always prepay. I run a club, which is for people who've never really had coaching before, predominantly, because I know coaching can be quite expensive. And unless you understand the power of coaching but you've never had it, if I said to you, okay, so I'm going to charge you €1,000, you're going to be like, what? No, or well, most I say that some people are like, yes, absolutely, but a lot of people they don't know if it's going to work or not. So what I tend to do is I have a club for people who will start with me at a lower investment, but it's like a membership, and then after 3 months, then they'll move up to my full rates. But by then they understand how coaching is. They've seen some impact. They've seen some transformation, and they're like, that's great. And they're kind of what they're doing really is then helping new people get into coaching by paying the full rate, and then I can then afford to charge less to new people.
I've never seen your adverts about this membership. I've never
No,
seen.
I've never had to advertise it.
Is it an internal circle where you've been advertising? How does it work?
No, it's literally a case of when I have a coaching session with somebody, at the end of it, I'll explain how it works. And, dependent on the client, depending on where they are in their world financially, or, I'll make a decision and I'll tell, and if I have space, I'll let them know that I have one place available or two places available.
Do you mean it's limited in number of members?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Limited.
limited. So I keep it to 20. But I do actually have a Ukrainian client who's based in the UK.
Okay, yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah,
They're out of their countries.
yeah, yeah.
Do you find the different mentalities, or of course, obviously, there are some traces, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they're what we call limiting beliefs, right? So it's that which are what they're learned beliefs, what people, they've been taught at some point in their lives, and they think it's fact, but it isn't fact. It's just what they believe. So sometimes there's a slightly closed mindset around certain things, like, oh, I could never do that, or I could never do this, for example. And that is you do get that in different cultures, but most of the time, once they what the reason they want to work with me is because they want to try and change, or they want to try and perform better in their lives. So they'll give it a go. Even I was like that. When I first went into my first coaching session, I was like, this isn't going to work. This isn't going to work on me. This isn't for me. Yeah.
A little bit about pricing. How much approximately have you paid to be a coach? Just to get some ideas for listeners, for me either.
Yeah, so I did my coach training with the Coaching Academy, who I now actually work for as well.
London,
And
based in London, right?
they're based in London, but they're global. They're the world's oldest coach training company,
Mhm.
with the biggest, most credible coach courses, which are accredited through the International Coaching Federation and also the Association for Coaching. And I think the courses cost between 3,000 something pounds, three and a half thousand pounds to
A
four and
year, right?
no, in total.
In total. Okay.
Yeah, and to four and a half. But they do offer bursaries to people who are self-funding. So they offer up to £1,000 as a bursary to people who are paying it for it themselves. And also they offer payment plans to people who are looking to pay in installments, which they never did when I did mine. I had to pay in one go.
It's a little bit expensive. For us, for French, it's expensive.
It is, but you
We
have
are
to
one of the poorest population now.
absolutely understand. But think about what the reason why you're doing it. So when I did it, it was to make a new career. And actually, it's the expense of the course is insignificant to my revenue now.
Really, that sounds incredible. And we will stop quite soon because I need to run to school. But I could
Sure.
I could
Yeah.
keep talking, and probably next
Yeah.
sessions you will agree, you would accept. We will keep
Yeah,
talking
of course.
about
100%.
different things.
Yeah.
How would you probably advertise your closed internal club? Just once I can just cut it, and you can just send the link to your listeners, and it'll be kind of your.
Yeah, I mean, I would say just drop me an email, or, go to alex@alexgalecoaching.com or alexgalecoaching.com.
Mhm.
And those, you can contact me through there. And then the first thing I always do is we arrange a time to have a chat, and we just have a chat for 20 minutes, half an hour, and understand if we're a good match. Because the thing about coaching is it's a relationship, and if you don't connect well with that person and they don't connect well with you, then it's not going to work.
There is
So
no medium.
so
Yeah.
you have to have that initial first conversation. And then from there, I generally offer people a coaching session especially if they've never had coaching before. Some people don't. Some people are like, no, it's fine. I'm ready. And that's great. That's their decision. Or you can find me on social media, Coach Alex Gale, or Alex Gale
Okay.
Coaching, I think it is, one or the other.
Okay, I will publish some of them as
Yeah.
subtitles probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could get some more questions actually. I'm just thinking about the end of the day because at the end of the year here,
Yeah.
it sounds incredibly. I would really think seriously what you're explaining every time you're publishing. I'm really inspired by your
Oh,
explanation.
thank you. I mean, it's the reason I publish on social media isn't so much for getting clients, it's to show people it's possible, right? Because the beauty of transformation is the transformation, and it's the journey, not the destination, right? So we always say, when you people always try and get to where they want to get to, but the truth is, becoming the person who you become on the journey to getting to where you're getting to is the best bit.
There is a memo, the memo in Russia now, to
Mm,
be the better, or to be the best version of yourself. Well,
mm,
it becomes a little bit
mm,
sarcastically
mm.
announced now, but what do you think about that? Is it about being the best version of yourself?
I think, yeah, I mean, I never grew up with personal development in my life. There was no such thing when I was brought up. And so everything I've learned in the last 5 years, really. And it's like opening a Pandora's box of a whole new world that actually you see the most successful people in the world have always used. So it's not it's for those that have always been successful, this is something they've always had. And so my goal is to make it accessible to as many people as possible.
I see. Yeah, thanks a lot. Hope to stay in touch and hope probably to
Absolutely. Do
our
more. Yeah.
classes. Yes,
Good
so
luck.
thank
Keep
you.
in touch.
We will ride. I will drive for 2 days now to Biarritz with my daughter, with another Ukrainian,
Yeah.
the ice skater. I will not publish all we have talked, but probably a small piece just to start this.
Whatever you prefer. Yeah.
Thanks
I
a
leave it
lot.
I leave it in your very capable hands.
Thanks a lot to accept the
And
invitation.
loads of love. Hope to see you soon.
Yeah, again.
Yeah.
The
Well
same.
done.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Nice day.
Ciao, ciao.
Bye. Ciao. Ciao.
Bye bye.